Hi, my name is Daphne, and today we are in the garden the last week of, there's a lot of gnats around, the last week of June, and I wanted to show you guys the garden in between rainstorms. I mean, the garden looks like an absolute forest at this point. The tomatoes are healthy, the basil has to be picked, the squash is growing around everywhere, there are random borage plants. It's just, there's a need to do something to control the chaos. I also saw a vine borer, what do you call it? The vine borer moths that has been laying eggs strategically around my squash plants and actually inside of the soil as well, which I heard of, but I've never actually seen it happen. I actually watched it happen. So the problem is I have a bunch of diatomaceous earth, which I'm going to actually spread around the collard greens because they have skeletonized the collard greens. But I also need some BT as well, and we have another rainstorm coming in like later on today and tomorrow. I think it might wash off the BT and it might also wash off the diatomaceous earth, but I do need to apply it today. I'll show you guys around. It is absolutely beautiful. And we do have a couple of squash growing in, so hopefully the plants actually survive long enough to produce. How about that? Let's go. Let me show you the madness. It's beautiful, but it's it's getting interesting. All right, so first things first, this collard green, fall, mustard, whatever you want to call this bed. Do you see this foolishness? Now I literally have some cloth up, and I don't know how they're getting in. There must be some type of hole somewhere because I actually released 2 caterpillar moths from this area and the screen is actually down. So maybe they missed a couple of worms and they completed their life cycles in here. But they have skeletonized this plant. Look at this. I did not grow these plants to be worm food. I'm so annoyed. This is definitely a worm. I just don't know. I see an egg there hanging, but yeah, I'm gonna have to spray some BT. I actually did put some diatomaceous earth in here quite heavy and it doesn't seem to be doing any good. So we have to move on to the next stage of things, which is gonna be the BT to save my collard greens. A combination of both, and I'll just come out every couple of days and just kind of do that because they're not really attacking the collards and the mustards. I mean the mustards and the turnip greens, but they are definitely going in on the collard greens and I don't thoroughly appreciate it. So we're gonna have to kind of fight. Also the leeks are looking really interesting. They're not, it might just be that they're too thick and I might need to kind of just pull some off, but I actually thought they would be a little thicker. Maybe I should just cut maybe trim them down and let them focus on root development. I don't know. Then we do have our cabbage here, which are only surviving because I put them inside of, I have them sitting inside of a water basin, so they're actually able to get some water. But I do need to actually put these in some 5-gallon buckets. I also do see some insect damage with them as well, so I will need to spray them down with some BT. But I'm actually going to put them in 5-gallon buckets. I thought about actually putting these inside of the enclosed garden area, but I don't have any space because cabbage gets huge. So if I put them in 5-gallon buckets and maybe set them out, they can complete their full life cycle. And maybe hopefully we get a nice harvest by Thanksgiving. That's the goal. I doubt it, but that is the goal. On the outskirts, we do have our our random squash that was planted, and we do have quite a bit of yellow squash coming in. Look at that. There's one there. And then one more coming in there. I think I might have actually planted a white patty pan squash in here because this one's coming in. And that's a problem because patty pan squash is trellis. Like they go up. So maybe I can run this one. I can train it up the fence a little bit. But oh, I have a little patty pan squash coming in. Hopefully you guys live long enough to, to reproduce. And maybe that's the trick with squash. So next year I will start them in the house because every time I start them from seed, they always get attacked before they're able to fully develop. So if I start them a little bit in the house and then plant them out, they actually seem to do a little better. And I actually get some squash produced before they die a slow, horrible death. So we do have, look at that. We have a squash there as well. So beautiful. And I just saw a cabbage moth fly off as well, so I'm pretty sure there are eggs all over the place. So all of the squash will have to have some BT, but they're so beautiful. Look at this. and to contain the yarrow was getting out of control, but I actually will be taking half of these plants and bringing them in the house, because you can use the flowers. But the flowers attract so many beneficial pollinators, and they also attract your predator insects as well, the ones that actually will kill off a lot of the bugs you don't want. So definitely will grow them, although right now there's nothing on them but flies. But we are at 80% humidity, so you're going to get those things. Look at this, it's beautiful. It needs some work. And here's the thing, I actually dump bags and bags and bags of leaves into these garden beds. You wouldn't know it. All this uncovered space. Oh, look at our flowers. We have our violet zinnias. This is supposed to be a giant one. So cute. And then we have our peppermint zinnias here. That's probably going to be a red one there. Oh, it'd be so cute. Now, how do you bush these out is that you will actually take the flower head, I do believe. You'll take it right where it, if I were to take this one here, cut it all the way down here at the base, it splits out. So there's a flower coming in here and there's a flower coming in here. If I were to take this one, and I probably will take it today before it gets any bigger, then it'll actually start to bush out. And I want that to bush out because this is just one plant here. So I'll take it here and then it'll bush out. When this one develops, then I'll take this top head here, and then you take this one right where it divides, and then these plants will start to bush out. It's pretty neat. Oh. With marigolds, what you want to do is actually to deadhead them. So as soon as you see any flower heads that have already dried up, you want to take that head. You can dry the seeds in the house in a brown paper bag, and they'll start to bush out as well. So this is actually only one plant, and she's beautiful. Oh, it just got bit. That sucks. Then look at these tomatoes. This one is a Dr. Witchy's, and look, we have some flowers finally. Now this plant is actually big enough to, look at this, it also has to be pruned. Not the best time to prune a tomato plant though. You don't want to prune it when it's so humid because it'll start to have some fungal infections, but she's quite healthy. This one actually does need to be leaned back towards the trellis, so I'm going to remove the stake that's back here in a little bit and actually lean her further back. In the winter though, I might actually move this trellis forward so that I can not have to lean them back so far, but as she gets bigger, she's going to lean up against the trellis. And then we have some, I think this is cinnamon basil here, which is beautiful. And then we have some lettuce leaf basil. Look how large these leaves are. And this is a patch of calendula here. We also have another Dr. Witchy's here, which is starting to put on some flower blossoms. And I do believe this might be cinnamon basil. And you just want to take it, and it'll spread out if you just take the tops, and I'll just take those in for some tea. So no waste, just throw them in a brown paper bag, take the tops, and then you'll have some good tea. This is also a Dr. Witchy's here. She's doing amazing. I think this squash is, it looks like this one might actually be a yellow. Actually, no. We might actually have our black zucchini. I see a little baby coming in there. It'd be nice to have a little bit of diversity. Then over here we do have a Cherokee purple tomato. And can we take a moment to look at this? The whole branch has been fused. So this thing is huge. And we have a couple of blossoms coming in there. She is beautiful. We do have another marigold bush here, loving the rain. Bunch of chives, some peppermint in the back, getting ridiculous. I think this tomato is Amish paste. And we do have some blooms coming in there. Behind this madness we have some basil. Look at her, she's huge. And this just comes from like literally just taking the heads. Especially for this type of basil, you do want to just deadhead it. Use that for later. And then underneath this we have, what type of squash is this? I'm not sure. Probably a yellow squash. I don't see any. Oh, actually this is a patty pan squash. Small little baby right there. And we have our borage, which is kind of doing some weirdness. We have some more basil and dead head. Take some of the flowers off. And just pocket it. Probably should do this earlier in the morning. And then this tomato here is another Amish paste. We don't have tomatoes yet, but we definitely have our flowers. And here's the benefit of having different varieties of flowers in your garden space. Do you see this? Laying eggs. Yeah, I'm gonna have to spray with some BT. She's relentless. I wish I could catch her. Mascara. I got some work cut out. I got my work cut out for me. They all need to be sprayed down before the next rain. And weeded and everything else. And then the stinging nettle I cut down is actually starting to grow back wonderfully as well. So we might actually get 2 separate harvests from this one, which is beautiful. And our peppers over here, we have some cayenne peppers growing in. Whoop whoop. They're tiny, but they're doing it. We have some more little buds coming in here. And over here as well, we have a huge one. They're puny, but they're beautiful. I said peppers don't like a whole lot of sunlight. You need to have some type of, you need to have some partial shade with them. I think the birds have been eating some of the worms off of these plants. It looks like it anyway, the way the leaves are broken. And we have another pepper here, and our chamomile. Definitely need to come out with a brown paper bag and just come take some of the flowers. I've kind of been deadheading that for the last few days. If you don't take the flowers, then the plants think that they've done their job and they'll stop producing. So definitely want to come out and collect as many flowers as possible. But look how beautiful they are. She's starting to irk me. I need to just smush her. Apparently they're pollinators. I guess they're good for something. Would be a good time just to take her and smush her. But I don't want to be cruel unnecessarily. B word. Then over here in this madness is supposed to be the okra. I do got to cut these peas down. They're more than done. They're spent. Oh, we have a little asparagus growing in here. We have over here another squash. It looks like that might be a yellow squash. And it's trellising though. That's kind of weird. Maybe it's not a yellow squash. Looks like a yellow squash though with the fruit. In any case, we have an okra coming in. We have another little tiny red okra here, but she's being blocked out by the sunlight. Probably should just take this so she can get some light. That's the problem that happened last year, is that the squash started taking over the okra. They didn't get enough sunlight. We do have one here. And you see, I do have marigolds planted here as well. That does not deter insects. I don't know who said that. Maybe in a general proximity, but like, you gotta have multiple ways of counteracting whatever pests you have in your garden. Plants alone won't help, even if it was an African marigold and they get huge. They don't necessarily deter. They might mix the scent up, or they might attract some bugs to eat them instead of like eating your plants, but you have to have multiple phases. Every now and again, I keep seeing these these like cheat videos on like the gardening groups, like plant marigolds as the super crop, or plant nasturtiums, or plant whatever, and that they're not, like there's nasturtiums here, but it doesn't deter the vine borer. It's not going to deter your cucumber beetles. It's just not. So you're going to have some different methods. Here's another okra here, doing wonderful. Here's another one here, doing really well. And these I actually did start in the house, the second row. So I'm actually going to start the okra in May. The ones I started in April, which are those ones, they didn't fare so well in the cold. So start your okra in May and then harden it off in June. If you're kind of in a zone where like the weather's kind of iffy in April. If you start them in May in the house, if you have the space, and then plant them out in June, you'll probably have more success, because these were the ones that were started in May. And it seems like we have a squash down there. That's sweet. We have a couple of squash growing in there. That'll be ready probably tomorrow. And we have our beautiful flowers. Oh, she's gonna be gorgeous. I will probably take this one and let this plant bush out. I'll take it right there at the stem, and then she'll be allowed to bush out. This one I'll take as well to have this plant just get a little thicker. And these peas definitely got to come down. Yeah, it'll be beautiful. Over here, I do see the comfrey growing back with a vengeance. I did cut it down before they let off seeds. I don't want comfrey everywhere. So once the flowers spin, then that's the only reason to keep it. But look at the borage. So there's going to be borage all throughout this bed next year. And it is fully populated with honeybees. And these peas are done. When it gets too hot, they're done. Like I said, these peas are kind of tasteless, but I can now make room. I'll pick them and just freeze them, steam them. You do need to like blanch them and put them in the freezer, and then I'll just use it for like soup peas. But yeah, I probably won't grow this one again. But when I take these out, I'll fertilize this bed, and then that'll be more than enough. There'll be more than enough room for the tomatoes to kind of trellis up. And then we have some, oh, our borage. Have some raspberries. They're sour. I have to put down some Epsom salts. So look at that. Now the thing with borage is I do believe you might be able to use the leaves, but you definitely want to use the flowers. And I think that I can actually get them to bloom twice if I take the flowers. So I might end up taking these early. But I like the look at them. They're beautiful. In about a day or so, I probably will just snip the flowers and then see if I can get them to bloom twice. So yeah, we definitely have our pole beans coming in, and they are beautiful, ready to be harvested. So yeah, the peas have to go. All of the peas have to go. They're unsightly anyway. Look at that. And I thought the pole beans actually weren't going to make it because the peas were taking up a lot of the energy in the soil, but apparently it's not the case. You can plant pole beans and peas apparently in the same trellis, just maybe a little bit away from each other. That's wonderful. Alright, thank you guys so much for watching. I just saw the honeybees out. I guess they are out a little. I'm going to have to kind of be very careful where I spread the BT. But thank you guys so much for watching. I know your gardens probably look similar to mine, and I hope that you guys are keeping up on the maintenance, because if we can get past the buggy stage, it is quite beautiful, you know? And we all appreciate the produce. We just got to put some work into it. So I digress. But thank you guys so much for watching, and you guys have great and wonderful days, and enjoy the beauty of the summer and the heat. If you can get near some water, it's, you know, it's a wonderful thing. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. You have a great day and stay hydrated. Peace.